Hello, one and all. Welcome back to the Stitch Up. It's been a long year, hasn't it? It's been a hell of a year. As some of you have probably realised, this is the first Stitch Up to be released since November of 2016, when I did Doctor Strange with Ben McGregor. Now, the reasons for such the huge period of inactivity are threefold. One is legitimately very, very busy with other projects and working and just life gets in the way of creative pursuits on occasion, especially when they're, just silly stuff for myself and my friends and you good people. The second is probably the more serious one, not to, bring it down too far or anything, but there seems to have been, I don't know if it has to do with the election of a certain president or if things were just that way before and I didn't notice it, but there seems to be an awful lot of negativity on the internet. More than usual. I know that's a stupid thing to say, but there's so many people angry about so many things that they don't need to be angry about, and one of them is movies and things like that. Like, people just, even this week, it's November 2017, the Justice League film came out, and I haven't seen it yet, so I can't really say one way or another, but man, people are hating on it. Damn, people are hating on it. And you know what, I just don't need that type of negativity in my creative space, and I haven't for some time, which is why doing a film review video series where I kind of pan stuff just didn't seem like what I wanted to be spending my time on anymore. The Stitch Up took us time off, but the Stitch Up is now going to be revamped. It's going to be a film appreciation blog or film appreciation video from now on. It's I don't want to talk about negative, I don't want to be negative about films anymore. I want to be positive. I'm happy that I get to see all these things, bad or good. So it's going to start next month. With a new episode, which I shot with Hugo Ferrand from our Batman vs Superman episode last year, and we are going to appreciate very much Mad Max Fury Road. I'm very much looking forward to that. We shot for a couple of hours. I haven't edited it yet, but it's going to be a lot of fun. So the Stitch Up will become a film appreciation. And we'll still be cracking jokes and cracking wires and having a good time. The format's not really going to change that much, but just the content is going to change. We're going to be a lot more positive, a little bit less negative to make the internet space a little bit nicer than it can be sometimes. And the third reason is because I shot a Stitch Up review with my very good friend Brad last year for Suicide Squad. Now, for a bunch of different reasons, it kept getting put on. We kept putting it off, and the edit just kept getting further away from being done, and it never kind of happened. Now, I've recently gone back in to the editing suite and have cut that all up. So this episode is going to be the last in the original series of the Stitch Up, when we're actually, being critical about films, more critical anyway, and then after that we'll go on to the more positive reviews and more positive insights into film. But yeah, it's what I'm calling Stitch Up from the Vault. That's right, we shot this in August of 2016, and it is interesting to watch it now. I mean, everybody's seen Suicide by now and they've all made up their minds about it. Even some of the cast and filmmakers behind it have made up their minds about it in a negative way. But it's interesting to see the lapse in time of how it's been a year or over a year since we shot it, and then to see sort of how things are now compared to with all the new stuff that's coming out. Like Suicide Squad 2 is going to happen. We're going to have the Joker movie. We're going to have the Harley Quinn movie. We're going to have all these things, and it's it's funny to look back and see how things were when it was fresh. So hope you enjoy that. But the last one for this iteration of the Stitch Up from the Vault, and then we'll be getting into the film appreciation version of the Stitch Up. So I should probably change the name. The Stitch Down. No, we'll talk about it. It's fine. Also, you will notice in this video there's some poor color correction or poor color grading, only because we shot towards a window. Like, me and Brad were sitting on a couch and there was a window behind us, and it kept getting sunny and dark and sunny and dark and sunny and dark. But that is Melbourne. She's a fickle mistress. And yeah, so I've tried to correct some of that here and there with just, you know, really simply, because it's just, let's face it, it's not, you know, Schindler's List. We don't need it to be perfect cinematography. It's more about content. So yeah, they're not little easy tricks, but you will probably notice them. So I apologize for that, but hope you enjoyed anyway. It's just the old format, which you know and love well. And then next month we'll kick off what I guess would be season 2 after ostensibly doing 8 episodes if you include the 3 episodes we did with Hugo on Batman vs Superman. So this will be episode 8, and then we'll start a new series, and it'll go from there. So thank you for tuning in once again. It's been an interesting year. Let's make the next one even better. Enjoy. Peace. Hey folks, welcome back to the Stitch Up. We're doing a home show today. I've got Home Court Advantage, and I'm here with my very good friend Brad Phillips. He's a aficionado of cinema. He's a filmmaker himself, writer, director, bon vivant, part-time chandelier cleaner.
Got to pay the bills.
Just all-round good guy. So thanks for coming around, Brad.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, anytime. And we're going to talk to you about Suicide Squad. So we're a little bit late to the party, but I think even more so based on the net reaction and some of the aftermath of the film coming out, we wouldn't have had as much to talk about.
Yeah, exactly. I think it needed that room to kind of breathe for us to form opinions that weren't affected by anyone else's reviews, and to kind of sit back and think about it. And so, I think we've done well.
Absolutely. And also, there's been a lot of, I suppose you'd call it flack. I mean, me and Brad were talking before about how it had a lot of reshoots, and Jared Leto's very actively come out and said that his role was diminished quite a lot in what David Ayer, the director, says is his cut of the film. In the DC universe, which is, you know, now cinematically has starting with Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman, and then Suicide Squad, and then of course you're going to get Justice League, Flash, Cyborg, you know, Robin, I don't know who else, Plastic Man.
Yeah, well, hopefully there's a Plastic Man.
I'd love a Plastic Man film. So the bad guys of the DC Cinematic Universe have sort of all been brought together to form literally a Suicide Squad, a death squad, people who are expendable and can be sort of sent out on missions. As is said in the film, what if Superman decided to pull the president out of the White House? Who do we send to stop him? And they, you know... Plastic Man would be on it straight away and probably do a better job. Won't say any more about the plot, and that way we won't spoil anything. But just in case, if we do say something and we spoil something, spoilers, you've been told.
Yeah, it's been 2 months since it's released. If you're a fan, I'd like to think you'd seen it a couple
times.
If
you haven't, if you're watching this and you're a fan of these kind of movies, you've probably seen the film. Otherwise, you would have gone, who are those two idiots on screen, and just forgot about it. One of them was wearing a baseball cap, was in 1994.
Batman.
Oh, respect.
I can honestly say that this was the movie that I was looking forward to for this year.
Yeah.
As soon as I saw that first trailer, they had the Bee Gees, I started to joke as the song that was re-sung like very orchestrally. It got me. I'm like, this is it. This is what I've been waiting for.
Yeah.
And as you can tell, I'm a really, really big Batman fan. So anything that comes out in the DC universe, I immediately want to see. I won't say I was disappointed. Well, I kind of was, but it was the greatest disparity, I thought, from how good the trailers were and how just awesome it looked to be shot in the story and what the story could have been to then what the movie actually was.
Yeah.
Not saying that the movie was terrible. I still enjoyed it, and it was shot beautifully. The actors were phenomenal. There was just a few things that I thought could have been better.
Yeah.
Like, I thought this should have or deserved to be a 4-hour movie that hadn't been cut into an hour and a half.
Yeah.
There were so many scenes that were rushed, plot lines that weren't fully developed, and I suppose character development that wasn't quite there. They didn't quite get you there. Like, I gave the trailers like a full 11 out of 10. And the movie probably is 6.5, soft 7.
The mystical nature was not something that I was expecting.
No.
Because from what the trailers, proportion of the trailers showed you,
She seemed like one of the Suicide Squad.
Yeah. And that they're going to be fighting the Joker.
Exactly, yeah. I kind of walked into the movie thinking, oh, cool, we're getting a really cool new Joker, which I liked. I'm a big Jared Leto fan, both musically and artistically. So I was really excited when he got the call to play the Joker and do it completely different. I thought, yes, we're going to see a whole lot of him as the main villain. He's going to be getting up to all his adventures and being very psychotic and having plans on plans on plans. Unfortunately, that didn't plan out.
No, he kind of ended up being almost a cameo.
Yeah.
Like his scenes were not only few and far between, they were really short. There was a couple of sort of intro scenes where you know, you sort of see the relationship that he has with Harley, Margot Robbie's character, and then you sort of see him trying to get Harley back out of prison and their love story and the real origins of Harley as well, which is cool, I thought.
Yeah.
And then he kind of doesn't pop up until the end, and then that's it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
it was 50 minutes of inactivity where where every scene he is in, he steals the show. And yeah, I was just expecting so much more.
How did you rate? This is what I was saying before when we'll talk about the Joker, because the Joker's really, I mean, he's the greatest villain of all time.
Yeah.
Whether you're a DC or a Marvel fan or whatever, he is the perfect dichotomy to his hero, to Batman.
Yeah.
They are so similar and yet so different in so many ways that he's just carries that weight, and he's terrifying because he has no real agenda the way that Heath Ledger's Joker had no agenda. He was a dog chasing cars.
Exactly.
You know, just chaos is what he was into. That's really scary. I read an article in Empire magazine. They're not a sponsor or anything. I just really like the magazine.
Still shout out to them. Yeah. Do you want to sponsor this? Feel free, Empire.
Give me a ring. But it seems unlikely. But I have subscribed for the last 4 years running, so
got to count for something.
Yeah. They had an article where they were talking about the Jokers over history, comic book wise and movie wise. But movie wise, cinematically, it started with Cesar Romero.
Yep.
You know, the woo,
yeah, very camp,
and the mustache.
very,
We're gonna get you back, man. Like really ridiculous, you know, Spanish guy playing the Joker, and he refused to shave his mustache.
Yeah,
He always had
the white makeup over.
You're like,
it's fantastic.
What the fuck is going on with his mustache? I'll never forget an episode of that where I've referenced this a lot lately, actually, where they had Bruce Wayne was like sponsoring an art show or something. I can't remember the exact specifics of the story. And all these painters doing these amazing paintings, and they come up to the Jokers, and it's just a white sheet.
Yeah.
And he's like, "What's this? I call it Death of a Bat." And I always thought that was really clever. Even when I was young, I thought that was really smart. And then you get Nicholson, amazing. Like that's my childhood Batman for me. And then you get Heath. Where do you think Leto sits within that group?
It's so hard because every Joker from that is so different. You've got Heath, who was it was a dog chasing cars. He was an agent of chaos. Then you've got Jack Nicholson, who was more kind of aggrieved in Batman and really wanted to go after him. Then you've got Cesar Romero, which is pretty much a comic foil for Batman. In the way that he was portrayed, and the sheer ridiculousness of it. Jared Leto's was more gangster, gang member.
He was kind of hip hop.
Yeah.
Hip hop Joker, you know, he's got tats everywhere.
It's very straight.
A lot of bling, you know, his guns are all like that scene that he's got with Common at the start, which sort of shows Harley's, which is the only time you ever hear her call him Puddin'.
Yeah.
Which comes from the Batman animated series from the early 90s. Paul Dini, one of the creators and writers of that show, created Harley for the cartoon series, and she was originally just henchman woman number one, and then he came up with the idea of the
lover girl.
the idea that her and Joker had a relationship, and she had that the checker costume, which you see briefly in the film of her looking at it and then putting it down and putting on the baseball bat and stuff. Yeah, she was created in the TV series, and they did a comic book called Mad Love, and where they talked about that they were in love. But the Joker's kind of, that was the thing that I didn't understand about their relationship in this film, in the sense that those characters have always been set up like she's mad for him. She calls him Puddin', and just like he's Mr. J, and she loves him so much. She's
almost like in a trance.
And that's the perfect way to put it. She's in a trance with this guy, and he's kind of puts up with her. Yeah. And he often tries to kill her in the cartoon version, or not kill her, but maim her. He hits her with mallets and stuff. It's really kind of an abusive relationship. And the way that they played it in Suicide Squad was there's that scene where he's about to, spoilers, he's about to push her into the vat of stuff to make him like her, to make her like him rather. And he says, you know, would you die for me? And she says yes, and he goes, no, that's too easy. Would you live for me? Yeah. Like that relationship was really, like he did love her. Yeah. And that was unusual to me, because he was, you know, always.
There was a strong kind of Stockholm syndrome to her in that relationship as well, is that she fell under his powers and was the bad guy. And she went in to interview him as a psychologist, and then just fell under the spell of
his
Glovasa,
charisma.
Yeah, we can follow him anyway. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of scenes in general that were in the trailers that didn't make the final cut of the film.
Yeah. And I think that might have been, you were talking about this before when we were having lunch, that it was probably one of those 11th hour, shit, look how well Deadpool did as a black comedy. We need to go in and rejig this a little bit. And like you said, it's kind of like a 4 hour, like they shot a 4 hour movie and the first cut would have been 4 hours and they had to just...
slice the absolute hell out of it.
Yeah, to the point where characters and scenes just don't connect with each other. I mean, you were saying before about Killer Croc.
Yeah, there's so much to his backstory and how he became the way that he is, let alone how people view him versus how he actually is. We were saying before, there was a scene that I read that as the guards were bringing him into the prison, he threw up half a goat and then went down and ate it again because he was a crocodile, and it just freaked everyone out. And that kind of shows his psyche and got everyone to be scared of him the way that they are when they mention him initially in the film.
Yeah.
But yeah, cut completely.
That threat isn't there.
Yeah.
They're all such interesting characters. Deadshot's an interesting character in his relationship with his daughter. You know, that final scene where, well, not a final scene, but one of the scenes in the film where they go in and he's like helping his daughter with her homework, but he's got ankle chains on.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing. I like that. And Harley's character is endlessly fascinating because, and I think Margot played the balance of cute and crazy, and legitimately threatening, really, really well. And then also incredibly sad. There's a moment in the film where she thinks that the Joker's died, and it's a beautiful dolly in shot, and she's just sitting on the top of a car in the rain crying. And then the rest of the team turn up and she kind of wipes her eyes and goes, yeah, and then goes back into that kind of, it's almost like she's three different characters.
Yeah.
Really, really well done. But nobody got their chance to shine.
Yeah. Possibly the only one that got enough character development was Diablo.
Yeah,
you see
I
him,
suppose so, yeah.
You get a bit of his backstory in that he's obviously done some very bad stuff, killed a whole lot of people, his wife, spoiler alert, and...
Accidentally.
And then vowed never to use his powers again.
Yeah.
And they poke and prod him, he's like, no, I'm staying to it. And then he gets that moment of clarity and it's like, oh, I actually want to repay my debts.
Yeah.
And I want to do what's good and do what needs to be done. Got a character that kind of went full circle.
The need for there to be something for them to fight as well. You know, the Enchantress building these bubble eye people, these weird sort of zombie husks of people that sort of the Suicide Squad and the soldiers who are with them have to, led by Rick Flag. Who was that actor?
Joel Kinnaman.
Who played RoboCop in the remake of RoboCop, or as I call it, RoboCop Light, because it looked like a can of Coke and then a can of Coke Zero. That's the difference between RoboCop the original and RoboCop the new one. It's just a change in costume. They're going through and they've got to sort of fight through all these weird creatures, and then they get to Enchantress's godlike brother, who is also a big sort of Egyptian god, and they fight him, and then they fight her. It was like video game bosses.
Yeah. Going up through the levels, up through different stages of difficulty.
Yeah, like Game of Death. You know, this level is this, and this level is this, and this level, and then the final level is the unknown, and you fight Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, which is, you know, that's basically this whole film. I can't believe that never occurred to me before. It's Game of Death, and the Enchantress is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Yeah, for that final fight scene with the rain, it's like, okay, let's just get in tight, get in close, and, you know, use the light flashes as cuts.
Yeah.
When it's not a club, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't a Suicide Squad club remix. They set her up as a character really well, but I still can't get over why she's the villain.
Yeah.
Because it seemed too huge. Like there was a point in the film where she's like shot this energy beam up through a building into the sky. Where the fuck's Superman? Like, is he too busy punching Batman in the head?
I think, judging from Amanda Waller's speech about what happened if Superman did come down, maybe it follows on, not immediately after, but after Batman vs Superman.
Yeah.
And that there is no longer a Superman threat because he died. With each character in Suicide Squad, I liked them and I enjoyed them, but I didn't really care.
Yeah.
Apart from Margot Robbie, who was acted probably the best in the movie and is just absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
I didn't have like an attachment to any of the characters because they weren't fully fleshed out, and if they died, they died.
The villain part of it is hard for them to play because you still have to be likable. I mean, Deadshot is an assassin. He kills people for money. And Harley Quinn is in a relationship with a guy who was just a psychopath.
Yeah.
And she's kind of a psychopath. And like some of these people, their
really
actions are reprehensible. They really are. And the work needs to be done for you to care about them more, and they didn't do it. These films are not what I'm wanting them to be, but I have hope, and I'm glad that they exist, and that we have a chance for things to come to a better place as well. I want Justice League to be awesome.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah.
I want to know, how does Superman come back?
Yeah.
He's got the beard. I've seen some still. He's got the black suit with the silver. I'm like. So the other question I wanted to ask you, a lot of hardworking folk, obviously doing a lot of hard work.
Definitely.
David Ayer's at the top of that pyramid. How do you think he pulled it off? Because it's an interesting choice for the material.
It's a very interesting choice coming from Fury and being part of Training Day and all these other movies that are so gritty and so raw, to then go to a superhero movie. I championed the initial choice. I thought, this is great. We need that kind of dark side.
There are some parts that refuse to make it a whole. Like it can't have everything. No film can. But the more parts you take away, the more like Swiss cheese you make your movie. And one of the things that made this film like a bit of Swiss cheese was that there were some poor editing choices made. Not just in terms of cutting scenes entirely, but in terms of just cinematic language wise, I noticed, and me and Brad have both been editors for a very long time, and those kind of things do stick out. Maybe they don't to the general public, I don't know. Because most of David Ayer's stuff has been, apart from Fury, which was the World War II tank film with Brad Pitt and Shia LaBeouf, pulled his tooth out. Did you ever see that?
Yeah.
He was talking about it. He's like, he had to find a back alley dentist because most dentists won't pull a perfectly healthy tooth out of you.
Yeah, that's
dude,
method.
That's telling you something.
Yeah, exactly.
If a medical professional is saying, oh no, I'm not going to pull out a perfectly healthy tooth, don't go to
Dr.
somewhere.
Nick Riviera.
Yeah. But so that was, a period film. But David Ayer has done. It's mostly been gritty urban stuff, End of Watch, Harsh Times, which are probably fairly unseen. To go from that, so everyone's got to graduate, don't get me wrong. Some of the best superhero films or the best sci-fi movies have come out of people doing non-genre work. David Ayer seems to have skipped the stage somewhere. And he's a perfectly competent director, like it's well directed, the scenes.
Yeah.
But there's just
the overall
package, that view. The director is only a funnel by which everybody else's talents come through, and they're the tip, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or the top of the pyramid, and everybody on down. So there has to be a certain amount of responsibility, but then you've also got to put a certain amount of responsibility on Warner Brothers.
Yeah. And that's where most of my responsibility lies, in how the final thing turned out.
Yeah.
Like knowing the films that David Ayer's produced and the vision and what was there in the film, like this could have been so much, this probably was so much more, and then it's just been muted and filtered down.
Maybe a better directorial choice for this material. And again, like I said, I'm not dissing David Ayer, very, very talented man, far more talented behind the camera than I am, clearly. Most of the stuff I do is a locked off shot and two idiots talking. I think my mustache was tickling. I think a better choice for this material might have been someone like David Yates, who directed the last couple of Harry Potter films. I think he did a few of them, actually. Okay. He just did Tarzan, Legend of Tarzan, and he's also done Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, which is, a Harry Potter prequel that comes out shortly. He's got that kind of CG, supernatural background. Or Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah.
He would have been amazing. He did the 2 Hellboy films. He's always worked in genre. Did a really amazing Spanish language film a few years ago called The Devil's Backbone, about a haunted orphanage. And Pan's Labyrinth. Forget about it.
Yeah.
Like put his.
And he's dark and supernatural, like no.
Yeah, and also practical. He made Pacific Rim, which is basically robots punching monsters in the face, and it was great. I've loved that film so much. Me and my girlfriend went and saw it. One of the few films I go and see in 3D because I have to wear glasses when I go to the cinema.
Yeah, 3D bang for these ones.
Yeah, it's just it's impossible. You can't have them on your face. So that's a real pain in the ass. But I went out of my way to do it for this film, and it totally worked. And that's a giant monster supernatural shit. Yeah. And then he can do something really intimate like Crimson Peak, which is creepy and just has that atmosphere. That's what Suicide Squad needed, atmosphere. And an overall sense of one brush, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Too many cooks in the kitchen.
Broth was spoiled.
It was spoiling the broth. And let's face it, broth's horrible to begin with. So if you fuck it up, then you get it. Stop being a chef. Stop it. Just take it, be a plumber or something like that. Final overview. Tell me.
Very, very watchable.
Very watchable. What did you say? How many out of 10?
I vary between a 6.5 and a soft 7. So which is
soft 7.
A soft 7. It's not like a hard 7. Is you know it's gonna.
I've never heard its rating described as soft before. Just a soft 7. It sounds like the name of a...
It's like it's there, but it can... I would have liked so much more, but that's having 12 to 18 months worth of expectations built up in your head from the trailers and thinking, oh, it could be this, that, and then it wasn't.
Yeah, and the funny thing is that very often they give too much away in trailers. Like you'll see something of a trailer, like that's the second Batman vs Superman one. It was basically the entire plot of the film. Yeah. And all the way up to the end battle.
Yeah.
And the only thing that you didn't see was the death of Superman. It's like, fuck, do you want to give away the farm?
Yeah.
And then with Suicide Squad, they showed you so much that you never saw.
Yeah.
In particular, there was one scene that I was talking about before where you see the Joker and he's like lost, his hair's all crazy out here, it's not slicked back anymore, and he's got a big burn across the side of his face.
Yeah.
When the fuck did that happen in the film? Like, that must have been a huge scene for that to happen. So how was that plucked out? And there was another theory online, watching some of the deleted scenes, and based on Jared Leto's derision towards the cut of the film, where Harley's hanging off the back of the helicopter that comes to save her, and she like runs up and throws a bat and dives and stuff like that, and then you see him shooting. The eye line is off, and it looks like he's actually shooting at her, not shooting below her. So the theory is that he was trying to kill her, which makes more sense the way that I was talking before about the Joker kind of being
from a historical narrative.
For being like her kind of being his foil. I think he might have been trying to kill her to keep her stumm about something, whatever it was. I didn't hate it, but it certainly didn't blow me away. Like I said, I was looking at my watch, so I'd probably give it a soft 3.
Wow.
You get one.
That's borderline hate territory.
It is a little bit. No, certainly not. 1 for casting. Definitely, really, really well cast. Even if they didn't get a chance to do the job that they could have done, they did do a really good job. 2 was soundtrack and cinematography, amazing. 3 was David Ayer's direction, doing his best with the material. And the half was the fact that I went to see with this guy, and he taught me about putting popcorn on your ice cream on your choc top.
They're a crunch dip and bite.
Like that, and they're in.
Game changer.
It was, there's some points, some things in your life you remember to the grave, and I think that is one of them. I think that's the thing that I will pass on to my children on my deathbed. I'll be like, don't forget to dip your popcorn in the thing, and then
imparting wisdom is one of life's joys.
And they'll be grabbing me going, Dad, where did you bury the money? So now my favourite part of the Stitch Up review, when I do it with my good friends and colleagues, we get to do a little game. Ooh. It's a game show. I'm going to tell you that much. When we did it with Grant for the first time, Grant Carter, it was called Taken for Granted. When we recently did it with Hugo, it was called How Far Can Hugh Go? Not bad. And today, we're going to play a little game I like to call The Good, The Brad,
Hey-o.
and The Ugly.
Hey.
Hi everybody, welcome back to The Good, The Brad, and The Ugly. I'm here with Brad Phillips, who's...
What?
No, nothing. Anyway, we're going to give Brad some questions here, and we're going to put some points up down the bottom of the screen, and we'll see how he goes. And if he wins, maybe he'll receive a Blu-ray of the Suicide Squad in the post when it comes. Alright, first question. Oh, you might get this one because I said it during the thing, but let's going to test his memory. Memory testing. Harley Quinn was created for and first appeared in the Batman animated series from the 90s. What was her creator's name? Don't look.
Not Frank Miller.
No, not Frank Miller. No, he wrote Dark Knight Returns. No, it was Paul Dini. What other film did Will Smith and Margot Robbie appear in together?
Focus.
Focus, it was. Very good.
Surprisingly good movie.
Really good flick.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it a lot.
Chemistry between them was amazing.
Jai Courtney, Captain Boomerang, appeared in which film with Bruce Willis?
Oh, was it the latest of the Die Hard incarnates?
Do you know the name of it? You're sitting so much taller than me.
It's my broad shoulders. I've been working out. What can I say?
I can tell. It's the protein.
So no, pass.
A Good Day to Die Hard.
Okay.
It ended up being the fifth one. Suicide Squad has already appeared on screen in which television series?
Was it Arrow?
Yes!
Yes!
Give the man another point. He's a DC master, this one. You can get this one. David Ayer wrote which early 2000s film starring Denzel Washington?
Training Day, my
Training
boy.
Day, that's it.
Now here's a tie to Suicide Squad. The Hillside game, which Denzel uses to do, is the same one that Diablo belongs to.
Oh, really?
Suicide film. Yes.
That's crazy. I didn't catch that. Jared Leto, who plays the Joker, won an Oscar for which film?
That would be the one with Matthew McConaughey, which is Dallas Buyers Club.
Yay! This is becoming too easy. Which famous director's son appeared as a soldier in the film?
That would be Scott Eastwood.
Fuck you, man.
Yeah.
Who was originally cast as Rick Flag in Trantrace's Boyfriend?
That would be possibly my favourite actor going around today.
Amazing.
Mr. Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy. Super talented. Super talented. Just good in everything.
Yeah. Just got that good wit, good timing. Can do comedy really well.
Yeah.
He's a massive unit, so can do action really well. And it passed on this to make a little indie flick called, what was it called?
Oh, The
Revenant?
The Revenant. Yeah, I don't know if anyone saw that.
Didn't get a lot of regard or eyes on screen, but it's his choice.
It's just, if he wants to work indie, that's fine. I don't think that. It went anywhere. I think it did nothing. What does Harley? I'm absolutely positive Brad will know this. You would have noticed. What did Harley have tattooed above her groin?
Was it property of the Joker?
No, that would have been cool though.
Good, no, that's on the back of her jacket. And she's got the pudding necklace or belt.
Yeah, she's got the pudding
choker,
I think. She's got something on her leg, but something very specific just above her lady parts.
No.
It says "Lucky You."
Lucky.
Which I thought was hilarious. Ben Affleck appears briefly as Batman in some of the opening scenes. But which other superhero did he play in the early 90s?
This is the tip of my tongue, and I actually watched this not too long ago, unfortunately.
Why?
Yeah, because it was on.
That was back when, in the early 90s, when all the properties were owned by studios as opposed to Marvel themselves, and they just were pumping them out. And oftentimes they would pump them out because otherwise you lose the rights. The rights lapse, and they have to give them back, which has happened now with the character we're talking about, and they're now doing it very successfully on Netflix as a series.
This is embarrassing, and mainly because it's the last two questions that you said, you'll get this easily, which kind of threw me. So, no, I'll pass.
Daredevil!
One
of my favourite characters. Kicking ass in the TV realm now, but it was definitely a bit of a lacklustre film. However, director's cut, a little bit better. They kind of take out some of the love story and have it a little bit more darker and grittier, but there's one part at the end of that film where he's blind, and she leaves him the necklace that he talks about, and he's like, Braille. We can see it's Braille.
Yeah, it's quite clear.
Come on, Daredevil. You're blind, not us.
Yeah.
Why are you talking to yourself? There's no one here. The pigeons don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Like, what's that blind guy talking about? I don't know. He always comes up here and whacks us with his cane.
Yeah, let's crap on him later.
Yeah, let's follow him home and shit all on his dreams. Anyway, well done.
Thank you.
That was very good. I think you got 7 out of 10, which is the highest anybody has.
Soft 7.
All right, folks. That's going to bring us to a close. Thank you so much for joining us again, Brad. Thanks so much, Amy.
Thank you, my friend.
Take it easy. Thanks for watching. I'm Regan Wood, Brad Phillips. Peace.